Hey everybody, it's Miss Wortell from the Blue Team. Miss Gunderson and I are going to be having you do your LinkIts this week for language arts. So we wanted to just give you a little how-to on how to log in and make sure everybody knew what they were doing. So you can do this through Clever, so you can log in through your Clever. But if you have any problems with that, because sometimes if your computer's not synced, your programs won't load. The way to get into Clever would be clicking the C here. If you want to see if you're synced, if you want to see if your computer's connected, click on your little icon and you'll see sync is on. If you don't see the sync is on, it means that you're not synced up. There'll be a button here to turn it on and it'll take you through some steps. But you always want to make sure your sync is on so you get the updates for all the extensions. So you can go through Clever and you can click LinkIt, but another way to do it will be go to test.linkit.com. You can see it's filling in automatically because I've been to that page already. It will bring you to a page where it's going to ask you for a code. This is similar to when you use Google where you need a class code in order to take the test because every class might have a different test. So you're going to want to double check with your teacher to make sure that you are given the correct assignment code. Now, on the assignment code, it's very important to make sure that if it's a 1 or an L, if it's a 0 or an O, make sure you know whether it's a letter or a number. So in this case, this is just a sample code. This is not one you should be using. So 001X VB99 and submit. Now, if you put a code in that's not your class, this next step, sorry, it's going into view test, won't work for you because your name will not appear on the list. So this is for one of my classes, and so only my students will appear here. If you go in and you don't see your name, it means you didn't use the right code. Now, I hope she doesn't mind, but I'm going to use Brianna as our sample student here. So I'll click on my name if I'm Brianna, and then I would hit select. It's now going to ask me for a password. Now, the password is your student ID, which is also your lunch code. It is a 6-digit number. If you're not sure what it is, this is the same one you use to get into the math test. But if you're not sure what it is, if you go into your student portal, it's going to be in the upper right corner. It's always 1 and then something. So in this case, I'm going to type in Brianna's, but it's nice and hidden. Now, if you want to see what it is to double check it, you would hit the show password, but I'm not going to show Brianna's password to everyone. So then I hit verify, and as long as you've done it properly, you'll notice the screen went into full screen. This is partly for the test security. It'll go into full screen because you should not be opening any other tabs. You shouldn't be opening any other windows. When you're working on this test, that should be all you're doing. Nothing else should be open. It will tell us if you have these other things open. So you need to make sure that you keep everything else closed. Now, if you had other windows open before this, don't worry about them. It goes into full screen, and as long as you don't click out of the screen, you're going to be fine. So it says your session is ready to begin. I hit begin. It might take a minute to load up. Now, there are some tools that you can use for this, and I'll show them to you, but everyone's going to see a reading on the left side here, and then questions on the right. There's a little drag option. So if I wanted to, give myself more room for the questions or more room for the reading, I can do that. There is a text to speech option for everyone up here for the reading text and here for the questions. So if you want to have it read to you, in this case, I would hit play. And I can pause or I can stop. Now, if I pause, it'll pick up where I left off. If I stop, it starts from the beginning again. So it's not the most fluid speech, but at least it's something. You also have the text-to-speech here for the questions. Now you have these little garbage cans. If you decide you want to eliminate a question, you can click the garbage can if you're crossing out doing process of elimination. You also have some tools up here. The flag is to flag the question for you to come back later. So if I put a flag on here, when I go later to look at my list of questions, it'll show up, and I'll show you that in just a second. You also have the toolbox, text sizes, zooming, contrast. This is where your list of questions is. So you can see your questions and see the one I flagged. And then this is a highlight. If I wanted to highlight the text, I could select and it would highlight in a color. Now, this would be to stop the test. You are not ever stopping your test until where you're very done at the very, very end. If you need to work on it in multiple days, you would pause instead. Good luck.